Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Rachel, and in today's video I wanted to talk about books that I really want to try to get read before the end of the year. It is the beginning of November as I am filming this, and I cannot believe that we are almost at the end of the year, and I still do have quite a few books on my TBR that I would really love to get to before the year is over. I definitely think that I have some potentials for 5 stars here. I think I have some potentials for best books of the year, so I'm gonna try to prioritize these over the next few weeks and hopefully get them done before the year is over, and I thought it would be fun to share those with you today. So let's go through my end of the year TBR. So one of the things that I do want to focus on as the year comes to a close is finishing some series. I am in the middle of over 50 book series right now, and it would be great to accomplish some of those before the year ends. So the first book on my end of the year TBR is Morning Star by Pierce Brown. So this is the finale of the original Red Rising trilogy. Of course, there are other books in the Red Rising world that have come out, but the original trilogy is made up of Red Rising, Golden Sun, and then Morning Star. I absolutely loved Red Rising and Golden Sun, and I am so excited and very nervous for Morning Star, but I definitely want to get to this before the year is up because I think it would be a nice way to finish out the year. I discovered my love for Pierce Brown's writing this year, which was definitely a highlight, and I think it would be nice to finish out the year with one of his books and then read the rest of the Red Rising saga next year. Another book that I would like to read, which would complete another series that I started this year, is The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. So this is the final book in the Mistborn trilogy, and the Mistborn trilogy I have had some mixed luck with. The first book I loved and I gave 5 stars. I was like brought to tears when I finished it because I loved it so much. The second book though, The Well of Ascension, I did enjoy, but I just did not love it as much as the first book, and I was pretty disappointed by that. So I am very curious to see what the final book in that trilogy is going to be like for me. I really hope it's another 5-star. I hope that we have a really satisfying ending here. Regardless though, I'm still very excited and motivated to finish this book because I do want to get to Brandon Sanderson's other work. I do really want to read the Stormlight Archives next year, so getting this book done will kind of get me all ready to do that, and I just really hope it turns out being a hit. And another series that I want to complete before the year is up is the Greenbone Saga by Fonda Lee, so I will need to read the Jade Legacy to complete that. I absolutely love the Greenbone Saga. I genuinely think once I finish this, as long as it goes well, this is going to be an all-time like god tier series for me. I have given the first 2 books in this series 5 stars. I don't really know how Fonda Lee could disappoint me with this finale because I just think she is so talented, and the way that she has crafted this story and these characters' lives is so well done. So I really do trust that she's going to deliver on such a fantastic ending. I'm really sad to be ending this series, but I also think it'll feel so good to complete this and then hopefully be able to call it an all-time favorite series for me. All right, so far we have talked about completing a lot of series before the year is up, but there's another series that I want to start, and this is actually a carryover from October. I did set a little bit of an October TBR, but I was moving, so I just wasn't able to get to everything that I had put on my October TBR, but this is just a book in a series that I've owned for a really long time. It's been on my mind for a while, and I really do want to get into it. So before the year is up, I would like to read A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. This is the first book in the A Darker Shade of Magic trilogy. I also believe that recently V.E. Schwab came out with the Threads of Power, and I believe that book is either a continuation or a spin-off of this series. So with that book coming out recently, this series has just really been on my mind, and I have only read one other book by V.E. Schwab, and it was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which I enjoyed. I did not love. I think I gave it like a 3.5-star rating, but I'm very curious to read something else from V.E. Schwab. I feel like these books are just so well loved, and I'm excited to get in on the hype. Another book that I am carrying over from my October TBR is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. As you can see, I have a bookmark in here. I did start this book towards the end of October. I just haven't picked it up yet because I've been prioritizing a few other reads, but so far, I'm really liking this. It's a YA fantasy romance, and it's been really fun. I think this is gonna be a really good book. It does have a little bit of like a Hunger Games vibe, and I'm really liking that storyline. So I've heard so much buzz about this book, and what I've read thus far, I get the hype. I just really hope that the plot continues to impress me, but I will say that the banter is really good. This isn't a wrap up, but because I have read a little bit of this book, I did just want to talk about it. I'm really liking this, so I definitely want to finish it before the year is up because I do see it potentially being a new YA fantasy romance favorite for me. So the next book that I want to read by the end of the year recently came out, and that is Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. So this is the final book in the Shepherd King duology, the first book being One Dark Window. I read that this summer, I want to say, and I loved it. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was so good, so gothic, so autumnal, really, really fun. And this is the finale of that duology. So I'm excited to see how things end. The first book ends in a crazy cliffhanger, so I'm very excited to see what the author does with it. And I'm excited that it's a duology. This is like a side note, I feel like we need more fantasy duologies. Like just 2 books is enough sometimes. I feel like sometimes authors extend series so long and then we have some filler books, but I feel like a duology is really underrated. So I am hopeful that this book is really well done and it gives us a satisfying finale. But I really like Rachel Gillig's writing style from what I have read of her, so I'm excited to see what I think of this. The next book is also a carryover from October, and that is Bound and Barbed. This is a new adult fantasy romance, and I just really want to read this before the year is up, you guys. I've owned this book for a while. I've talked about it a few times. I think I've put it on a few TBRs, and it does sound really good to me. We have fated mates in this book, and lately I've been very into that ever since I read The Crown of Oaths and Curses. That is a fated mates fantasy romance, and it was really well done, so I'm excited to see it done by another author. But I have heard really wonderful things about this book. I feel like it's kind of an underrated, like less known fan rom, and I'm hopeful that I'll really like it, and then I can tell you all that you need to pick it up as well. The next book is like kind of random. I have not talked about like this series in a long time. Let me share it with you guys. Okay, so another book that I would really like to read before the end of the year is City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare. I need to get back into my Shadowhunters era. I believe at the end of last year, I put the entire Shadowhunters world, all of the books, on my like 23 books I want to read in 2023 or something like that, or series I want to complete in 2023. And spoiler alert, I have not done that. I did read the Infernal Devices trilogy, which was fantastic, but I want to make some headway on this series, and lately I have just been thinking about the Mortal Instruments. I am reading the series in the author's recommended order, so after having read the Infernal Devices, I am now reading the second half of the Mortal Instruments, and weirdly enough, I miss Jace and Clary and Alex, so I would like to pick this up. I feel like it would be a good way to cap off the year to kind of get my head back into the Mortal Instruments world, and then hopefully be able to finish the Mortal Instruments maybe in like the first half of 2024. I just want to continue on with these books because I do like Cassandra Clare's writing, and from what I have read from her, especially the Infernal Devices, I do think she is really talented. The Mortal Instruments, I don't think is quite at the level as the Infernal Devices for me, but it was fun when I read it. Like, it's a little unhinged, the first few books especially, but I do find the world fun, and I just want to get back into it and see how I feel, especially after reading the Infernal Devices. The next book on my end of the year TBR is a contemporary romance, and this book, I think it also recently came out. It's very fall and autumnal. I did not have this book on my radar, but I saw a few people on Bookstagram talking about it, and it sounds really, really good and just kind of different, so I decided to pick it up, and that is You Again by Kate Goldbeck. So first of all, the most autumnal, beautiful, very When Harry Met Sally vibes, which is a movie that I have not seen, but I know it's kind of like a friends to lovers rom-com. But I think that the premise of this book sounds really cool. So we have two characters living in New York, and they definitely are flawed characters, which I'm excited about. That's definitely like a big draw for this book for me. And our two main characters are hooking up with the same girl, and then they kind of realize that and don't really like each other, and you know, time passes, whatever. They both stop seeing that girl, I believe. And then after some time passes, they decide to strike up a friendship. And they are like just friends, platonic in the beginning, and we slowly see them go from friends to lovers. I just think that sounds cool. I've heard good things. I just think it's a refreshing plot, and I really love friends to lovers. When it is done right, it is so fantastic, like people we meet on vacation. So I want to pick this up, especially at this time of year because of the fall New York vibes. I think this could be really fun. All right, the next book on my end of the year TBR is a book that I very specifically remember putting on my November TBR last year, and I didn't pick it up. I don't know why, but I didn't, but I am so determined to read this book. This is probably like #1 priority for the rest of the year, so I really need to read it, and that is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I have just heard that this book is fantastic. I don't know if I've heard a negative thing about it. I am a huge fan of The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. It's one of my favorite books of all time. I think it is gorgeous, and I've heard that this is even better. I also have heard that this book is almost like a love letter to readers. It's about readers, it's for readers, and I think that sounds really beautiful. Also, this cover, like, come on, this stares at me from my bookshelves all the time. Like, when are you going to pick me up? So I do really want to pick it up now. I also think there is something about Erin Morgenstern's writing that really just speaks to fall and winter. I just really love the way that she writes fantasy, so I definitely want to get to this before the year is up. All right, and then the last two books have not come out yet, but I do want to talk about them because they are priority reads for the rest of the year. So the first book is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros, of course. That actually comes out in a couple days from when I am filming this, and I am very excited. I'm so curious to see what this author is going to do with the second book. After Fourth Wing, it was such a big hit, it was so much fun, and the ending was very crazy, so I know that the second book is going to be very different from the first book, and I'm really curious to see what she's going to do. I really hope that I love that one as much as I loved Fourth Wing, and I'm just so excited to see what mine and everyone else's reaction to it is going to be. And then the second book that is coming out later this year, literally almost on the last day of the year, is Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross, which is the second book and then also the finale finale of the Divine Rivals duology. I don't know what the name of that series is, but I read Divine Rivals a couple months ago and it was really great. I gave it 4 stars, super, super well done. Hate to love, kind of like historical romance with a little bit of magical realism. I'm so excited to see these characters again and finish out that duology. I really love the way that Rebecca Ross writes romance. I think that she depicts just pain and longing and desire so, so well, and I'm really curious to see what she's going to do with book 2. All right, my friends, so that is the TBR for the rest of the year. Hopefully I can do it. Wish me luck. I really do think that I can, but I also have like some rereads that I'm gonna throw in there as well, so we'll see what happens. So since we are talking about the end of this year in this video, I need a favor from you guys. As December is just a few weeks away, which is crazy, I am going to be making end of year content, and I would love to hear specifically from you guys, what videos do you want to see from me for end of the year videos? Best books of the year, worst books of the year, most anticipated. I would love to know what specifically do you guys want to see from me for end of year content, so please leave your suggestions down below. I would super, super appreciate it. And if you made it to this point in the video and you wanted to let me know, go ahead and leave a clock emoji because time is running out. We are almost at the end of the year. Please make sure that you're following me on Instagram and Goodreads. They are always linked down below. I really appreciate that you watched this video. I hope that you guys are having a fantastic day. I love you all so, so much, and I will catch you guys in the next one.